Hello, friends. And this is the wrestling industry, so I guess I should say hello, foes, as well. So, we've been doing this is Arab Wrestlers You Should Know in commemoratum of Arab American Heritage Month. And this would be part 4 about Rima Fakih. And I'm doing different parts of her because I find the whole story fascinating. And today we're going to talk about like some of the highlights from her appearing on Tough Enough. Like I say, once again, guys, this is a true Arab American that's immigrated here in a war-torn area of Lebanon. So once again, she didn't have a hell of a lot of community support, even though she came from a family that even in Lebanon was known for their notorious tolerance and trying to be decent examples even over there of, loving your brother. So anyway, let's realize a lot of people that may be coming across this series, they don't remember it Tough Enough. They're either too young or not born yet, as far as wrestling fans go. Tough Enough was a good concept, The first few seasons really drew a versatile crowd for them. I have a buddy whose wife is a real uptight, stiff-necked woman, and she was in no way, shape, or form a wrestling fan, but she was captivated by Tough Enough. She was watching Tough Enough when it first came out. Then it disappeared, then the money was right, and it came back. So anyway, Rima Fakih and Tough Enough. I don't know what this has to do with wrestling, but I guess it did make for compelling television. But part of their training on Tough Enough in the season that Rima was in was they were dressed in protective clothing while being chased by attack dogs. Not sure what that has to do with training, but I'm sure it was something to behold, to watch. Sounds more like Jackass if you ask me. But anyway, Stone Cold Steve Austin, right after that episode. I don't know if her body can hold up to the grind of the WWE schedule, Stone Cold Steve Austin said. Fakih won an ally and fellow judge Trish Stratus, who said, "That's the exact same position I was in when I first begun." And once again, here we got a role model in Trish Stratus. I think her background, she didn't have anything to do with wrestling. And look how that turned out. She's one of the greats, one of the most memorable female wrestlers in the industry over the last 20 years. Now, once again, this is an Arab woman coming from such a strong Muslim culture. But she even stepped out on TV when they had John Cena come out in one of the Tough Enoughs and she proposed to him. And I'm sure she got a lot of flack from that. And hey, man, mad props for her being true to herself. Now, here's something that I saved that it's got to be worth a shit on Steve Austin and Rima. And this was from Rima about Steve Austin. When I was eliminated, he had known about my injury because I was injured. But they don't really show it on the show because we weren't really sure what was going on with me. But everybody was kind of afraid. And I never complained because I don't want to be a complainer. But they were concerned that if it might be a fracture, and we're talking about her ribs, folks. She had 2 or 3 fractured ribs. But this is before they knew that. That it might be a fracture, so I knew that's why they were sending me home. But Stone Cold Steve Austin sat down and talked to me like a friend, or more like a daughter, really. I mean, he was so encouraging. And I mean, that's when the real Stone Cold was really opening up. Because on the show, of course, he has to be tough with all of us. And when he told me that he had faith in me, he thinks I can do this, I was just like, wow, thank you so much. It just gave me wings. Oh my God. Stone Cold thinks I can do it, and he's not opening a can of whoop ass on me. Well, that's kind of corny, but cute for the cameras anyway, or for the media. Now, to me, man, I just find that so impressive for somebody who didn't have any wrestling background. One of the things that she stated, and it also holds true today, is you've got all these idiots out there that just fool themselves. They don't wrestle for the fans. They don't look at wrestling as a business. They wrestle for their egos. They wrestle for the locker room. You understand what I'm saying? She was surprised at how these people that had wrestling background or alleged wrestling background couldn't keep up in a lot of the, the drills and the goofy things like being chased by dogs. You know what I'm saying? And it still holds true today. There's no timing there. You can do all the cool moves in the world, but if you can't follow direction, you're not coachable, and you're not in shape, forget about it. You're where you should be. Now back to the rib injury. So she injured her ribs, and I would like to bury Bill DeMott, but I don't think I have enough to bury Bill DeMott with a clear conscience. I will say that he comes across as a bully. There's certain things that I don't like about the way he handles his business, the way he talks to people, and the lack of common sense when you're working for a company the size of World Wrestling Entertainment. He paid as many dues as you could possibly pay for his era. I come from the era prior. I wrestled full-time in Memphis twice, but I still don't feel that need to act like a crusty old-timer, and it's up to me to force somebody to pay dues. When I train people, yes, they will pay dues, and anybody in this industry, even the ones that try to shortcut, dues will be paid one way, shape, or form. But the point I'm trying to make is, and I don't even know if this was on camera, but it was 11 at night after Rima had been out and had a couple of drinks with her pals from Tough Enough. He called her to come to the building and come to the ring and work out. I don't know what lesson he was trying to teach her, but I do know this part was on camera where he gave her a corner, and then he came in with his 300-pound carcass and laid in a splash on her, which basically finished the ribs. That's what finished it, and that's what finished her on Tough Enough. And the lesson that was supposed to be, well, you should have told us you were hurt. That's not necessarily true. I can't tell you the conditions that I've worked in and worked under as far as being hurt goes. And I think that's just bullying behavior. And it was unnecessary. Now, the other thing that happened, I'm going to read to you from this now, is when she was learning how to hit the ropes. And it's a different day and time. They know so much more about fitness today than they used to. I guess she had put padding in on her hip/butt. And I want to say not padding, but probably a gel pad. When you first learn how to run the ropes, yes, it's a son of a bitch, but you get used to it so quickly if you can push through that. I don't push somebody through that because I know that some people can actually get nerve damage, and there's so many nerves that run between the rib cage and the spine. So when I see them start to flounder, I call them off and say, okay, it's enough for today, we'll revisit. But anyway, on seeing Miss USA, Rima Fakih used padding on her rear while running the ropes during a drill on the Tough Enough reality show, and this is Bill DeMott. I was watching her and wondering, why did she look so stupid? I was looking at her ass, not to check her out, but because I noticed the bulge. And I couldn't believe she had the gall to pull that. And then Booker T, I guess, was there and said, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. But I was about to blow a gasket. Why blow a gasket? Yes, Bill DeMott had paid dues, but he ain't no Danny Hodge. He's not a Jack or Jerry Briscoe. Do you understand what I'm saying? Today, these idiots call themselves ring generals because they've been and worked nowhere and done nothing for 10 years and call themselves, I'm a ring general, man. It's kind of like that to me, but more watered down version, you know. The Dudleys and Bill DeMott were trained by Johnny Rodz, and Johnny Rodz was incredible in the ring, in the house shows. And if you guys want to see more on Johnny Rodz, almost all of the WWE content that isn't owned by WWE or partially owned by the Boston Gardens, Madison Square Garden, the Philadelphia Spectrum, you'll see Johnny Rodz on there, and he's usually working the undercard or working with somebody new that was coming in. That was his trusted position for Vince McMahon Sr. because he knew he could count on him, you know. But DeMott and the Dudleys coming out of Rod's place, they kind of had this bully type attitude, and you couldn't get away with that today, you know. And I just don't see it being justified. It's like when people go to train for wrestling and, okay, you've got to pay your dues. All the veterans get to chop you and break blood vessels in your chest. What the F does that teach somebody? But anyway, this is how their relationship closed. And this was a tweet from Bill DeMott about the whole situation, and some sort of, not disrespectful, but some sort of hit the nail on the head calling out tweet by Rima, which I can't find. Bill says in Twitter, Rima is a great girl. She was fun and a gamer, but I don't think I am her type. I am special BD. Well, that just seems kind of cornball and covering your ass, but it is what it is. And again, I'm not burying Bill DeMott, okay? I'm just saying that, you know, for me, prior to investigation, I'm not going to go batshit over it, you know? And then finally, now, apparently she wasn't exactly, she was taken out of that season of Tough Enough. She was taken out because of the injury, which is smart, especially a tiny body with fractured ribs, you know, and especially somebody who's tiny, beautiful, with a modeling, acting career or potential at the time. Coming out with that ribs is real good too, because sometimes your ribs can get effed up. You can't do much for ribs, and you look kind of deformed, and she would look kind of funky in a bathing suit after that. And, you know, if you look at and peruse on Google Images, the work that she did in modeling, you know, some effed up ribs could have cost her money at the end of the day. So bless her heart, even for being taken off and not quitting. Miss USA Rima Fakih was not at the Tough Enough finale because she was attending the Miss USA welcoming ceremony in Vegas. Fakih was interviewed at the time by Vegas Weekly, Las Vegas Weekly, and made mention of the finale. I'm actually missing the finale tonight, being in Vegas for the WWE wrestling show Tough Enough that Vince McMahon booked me for. I have managed to sign some autographs, though, already in Vegas for WWE fans who turned out to welcome me. So, reason I bring this up is because it's unfair to say that she quit, especially after all the obstacles that she overcame, all the marketing and networking prowess that she had even going in there as an active, Miss USA. And I will also imagine at the end of the day, she never re-hooked up with WWE only because of her other schedule at the time, but also other opportunities that were available to her, you know. Now, tomorrow I'm going to do the last episode or the last part on Rima Fakih, and I'm going to go ahead and call it a happy ending. And I don't care what anybody says today about me with this. I am a mark for a happy ending because I secretly want a happy ending, you know. I think that she loved wrestling, but I think that at some point she looked at the situation, she fell in love with her fiance, who is now her husband, and they have 3 kids. And then she went and weighed the options, you know, and she was very smart to go the other route, but it's pretty cool that she's such a great example, especially for Arab women, Arab young girls, about chasing your dreams in spite of the way you might have been brought up, you know. I'm not going to hate on Muslims because I'm going to say you got that scale. On one end of the scale, you've got Louis Farrakhan. On the other end of the scale, you had Muhammad Ali, who was a great ambassador and an ambassador of love. It's just like Christianity, you know. There's extremists, and there was even more extremists, and because of the twisting from those extremists of, you know, God's word, look at the damage that was done, for example, to the Native Americans in taking over this country. They wouldn't dare call it conquering a country, but I'll be damned, man. The damage that was caused is just beyond comprehension. Thank God we aren't there today. And that's all I'm going to say about that, is that religion in the wrong hands is like handing a baby a stick of dynamite. All right, guys, I hope you're enjoying these. Tomorrow we're going to wrap it up with Miss Fakih. I can't pronounce her real name, but I'll get the pronunciation. I mean, her married name, but I'll get the pronunciation for you tomorrow when we talk about what she's done since. And, you know, how probably being on Tough Enough in her relationship and affiliation with WWE probably helped in that. Arab Wrestlers You Should Know, brought to you commercial-free by Premier Pro Wrestling. I'm Randy Ritchie and my cat Simba saying talk to you tomorrow.